All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Best Self Blueprint. So, for those of you who are coming back, you already know. For those of you who don't, you're about to find out. The mission of this podcast is to bring on people who have experiences, knowledge, and insights as to what it takes to truly move the dial towards becoming the best version of yourself. So, this guest is one of the people who inspired me to start my own business. He currently is the founder and president of his company, Slack Training, which he'll gladly tell you more about in our conversation. But he also has a bachelor's of science, served as a combat medic overseas, and now inspires people all over the country to get outside, get active, and get after their dreams. And this man's name is Alex Schwid. How's it going?
Going good. How about you, buddy?
Doing well. I had to break out. This is one of his famous Slack t-shirts. Fits
Looking
the
good.
occasion, so I figured I'd break it out.
Absolutely.
So I wanted to start by just having you tell us about like your journey from starting to get into slacklining, life all the way in between, and then up to now where you're running your own slackline company. Be as brief or detailed as you want, but just kind of
Sure.
run everybody through that.
Yeah. So I was introduced to slacklining probably over 10 years ago when I was in high school. It's really big in the rock climbing community. You're a climber yourself. So you were aware of slacklining before I even met you. But yeah, so I started slacklining when I was rock climbing. I started, making them with climb spec 1-inch webbing. We do like carabiner pulley systems with my buddy. We would use a Jeep sometimes to like pull it tighter and stuff like that. So not the safest, but we've been making slack lines for a while. I've been in athletics my whole life. I wrestled in college and high school, military, obviously. So I always thought that it was, or realized it was a really good workout whenever I was slacklining. Like I would actually get out of breath. I was using muscles that I never, used anywhere else. And I just saw that it was a really unique tool that, wasn't being utilized and wasn't really well known. It's pretty well known internationally. A lot of like European countries, slacklining is a more common name. Here, you have to kind of explain to people, like literally, this is the conversation I have every time. What's slacklining? Oh, have you seen the kids in the park between the trees? Oh yeah, yeah. So that's exactly what it is. So people know it's there, but don't don't really know what it's all about. So that's kind of how I got into it. It started as a passion project, just doing it for fun, and then I wanted to be my own boss, wanted to have fun, and have a creative outlet. And so I decided to see what I could do, start my own company.
So I was gonna wait till later, but I want to bring it up because you said the words. So you brought up to me the idea of a personal passion project. And I thought not only like the concept, but the way you explain it and why it's so crucial is very eloquent and very necessary for the conversations we need to be having. So explain what a personal passion project is and why it's so crucial for people to adapt.
Yeah, absolutely. So like obviously this, best self is your personal passion project. You can tell it's just something that you really enjoy doing. It's something that motivates you, gives you that spark, in the morning. But basically, I think it's super important. And I have this conversation with, friends. I have this conversation with, acquaintances, people that I haven't even met. It's something that I learned just through a lot of thinking and a lot of like trying to find, for lack of a better word, find myself. But basically, the way I look at it is like I mean, you got to make money. We rely on our income to support ourselves, our family. We gotta eat. We gotta have a place to live. So obviously, sometimes we're gonna find ourselves doing jobs or things that we don't necessarily love to do, or that we're not. Maybe you're working for a bigger company and you feel just like unimportant. But basically, I think everyone should have like something they're working on, at home, whether it's they set aside an hour a week or or if they can dedicate more time, but basically just something that you're actively working on, something that gives you purpose, that's a creative outlet, that makes you happy. And it could be, it could be starting a company like mine was, like yours is, or it could be, just continuing your education. It could be, working on a skill. I mean, it could be anything, but just something that gives you a purpose. And like, if you have a rough day, at work, where you're like, just something to look forward to. So I think everyone should have that, working that in their back pocket, something that makes them feel good. So that's kind of what it means to me.
Yeah. First of all, I think that is really important that people pick up on that. I was just having a conversation today with someone about it's unfortunate the number of people that lose that childlike spark and passion and curiosity. And what you're talking about is the perfect way to get that back. So I'm really glad we got into this as early as we did, because I think it's crucial that if you don't have something like that in your life, or if you, again, like you said, if you're in a job that you have to keep because it's a necessity to pay your bills, get your meals, keep a roof over your head, yeah, keep that job by all means, but do something else as well that really sparks your inner passion and your inner purpose. And yeah, I'm really
Right.
glad you brought that topic up to me, because you kind of condensed it into 3 words more eloquently than I've been able to. So,
Well, and two, like, yeah, like you said, obviously you got to keep that job. And if it's something like, for me, it was something that, I had an idea and I was still working full time at the time. And it was a slow process. It doesn't happen overnight. My dream was to, work for myself. I'm still not there yet. COVID threw a big hump in that, but basically it's a progression. It's not going to happen overnight, but you got to start somewhere. And like I said, whether it's an hour a day, but you can slowly transition and start making those dreams, become more of a reality. So
yeah, and I wanna dive deeper into, you mentioned it doesn't happen overnight. So, you've been working on this project for well over a year, right?
yeah, I officially started August of 2018, actually, I believe. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's right. But basically, I started the LLC, and I was still working full time, like I said. So I started it, but I was just putting, as much time and resources into it as I could at the time, and I didn't start really selling, our product until early this year, 2020. Like, we had some apparel stuff, you get that right away. And we were just building kind of our mission and finding ourselves as a company. Our official name is Slackline Outdoors. So it really started as more of an outdoors, recreation company. But then I slowly started to see the application of like the fitness industry and stuff like that. So, it was a pure passion project that we just transitioned into, we kind of found ourselves, but yeah, so it's been a while.
Yeah, I think, like we've kind of been circling around, it's really important if you're going to build a project like this, try to find, even if like, if you're to the point where you're like, okay, I'm not passionate about it, but I know it's going to make a lot of money, still find something that you can put your passion into. But what I want to go back to is that overnight comment just keeps like circling back through my head. What are some of the, I guess, trials and tribulations that you maybe weren't expecting when starting a business, that you've had to like adapt and learn and pivot and figure out and do your own education? If you could just talk about, the life of a startup company for people.
Sure. Yeah. So, I mean, basically, a couple of things come to mind. The first would be that like I don't have any really business background. I was in sales. I have a degree in biology. But as far as like working with a manufacturer, working with other companies, it's like a little bit of a learning curve. So a big thing I did to kind of help curve that is, and I read this in, I forget what book I was reading, but basically I created a board of advisors. It's something that anyone can do. And basically what I did is I found four of my, I would say they're all my friends, but they have different talents. So like I have a friend, he's a lawyer. I have a friend, he started his own business. It's in the liquor industry, but I have a friend, she's a gym owner. I have, I think those were the main three. But anyway, so what I did is I just invited them. I told them my mission. I said, hey, like, I'm just trying to grow the company, this way and that. And we'd have like a monthly meeting, monthly, phone call, and we made it real organized. And I would just, I had them be super open with me. I'm transparent with them. I let them know, everything from finances to what's going on, good, bad, ugly. And that kind of helps, helps give some feedback. Because if you're doing it alone, it's cool because you can steer the ship, but also it gets a little lonely. You'll question things. You want to, get input from other people too. So it's nice to have that kind of board to fall back on and help direct me. So that's one thing I kind of picked up along the way. I'm trying to think of if there is anything else. What a big thing that comes up is also money. Money, organization. Because it is a passion project, I'm pretty loose with funds. I just kind of throw my own money at it. Looking back, I probably would have been a little more methodical and kept track a little more. But it's all been working out really well. And that's how I learn. So people have different styles. I'm more of a scatterbrain, like jump from this task to that task. But it's just been kind of working so far. So fingers crossed, we'll keep at it. But
Yeah. And how did you actually, because the reason we know each other is because when I was at the front desk at the WAC,
that's
you
right.
just
Yep.
walked right in, came right up, and just kind of went right into it. Talk about some strategies that worked and also maybe one or two that didn't work in terms of like, how did you build your brand? How did you get your name out there?
Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of like the one thing I am good at, that I've had, training and practice with is sales. And the biggest thing I learned is just putting yourself out there. It's free. It's something I enjoy. I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy trying to do a collaboration, figuring out, what's kind of going on. It's how I met most, one of my friends on the board. I met her by just walking in her gym and starting talking to her. So you just have to do that. I mean, and if you don't like doing it, um, you know, find the, find the fun in it, because it really is. It's cool to meet and learn everyone's story. I mean, whether you end up collaborating or not, it's just really cool to get that insight. And it's a tough part, I mean, putting yourself out there, especially at first, you're like, kind of feel, you kind of feel dumb, or, whatever, have your own doubts, but it's a positive momentum. Once you meet people like yourself and get good feedback, it gives you confidence to go to the next person, and you just kind of build on it. But I definitely wouldn't be where I was today without that. And for instance, like our partners at the Foot Collective, I'm not sure if are you familiar with the Foot Collective?
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, they're like I've been following them before, you know, I started the company. They're the owners are, you know, physical therapists that, you know, just do world class you know, physical therapy for like basically posture, you know, foot health, and they're really paving the way. And so they were like a hero of mine, you know, type deal. And I think I sent them a couple emails or something, and I ended up just talking to Nick, who's the owner. I told him my mission. I just put myself out there. He liked it, and you know, now we're, you know, doing collaborations and stuff. So the worst they can say is no. I mean, that's about it. Like, just kind of go for it. I guess that's, you know, the only thing. You're the only person holding yourself back, basically.
Yeah, and another thing, let me know if you agree or disagree with this, especially because you have a much deeper background in sales than I do. But another thing I've found, ironically, talking about sales is really the best way to explain it is if you're being salesy and if you're focused on the money aspect, people can sniff that out a mile
For
away and they're
sure.
never going to
Yep.
give you their business. But like you said, when you come to them and you just say, hey, this is my mission, this is my purpose, I really think that we would be a good fit, people are a lot more inviting to that because, again, you can tell when someone is actually
Right.
invested in their mission and service and all of that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, whatever you're selling, whether it's yourself or a product, if you don't believe in it, then, you know, people are gonna notice you. And that's kind of what is drove me away from sales and like corporate America, is because I was selling things that I wasn't necessarily super passionate about. Like, I was selling things that people wanted for sure and that they loved, but I didn't. I wasn't super passionate about it, you know. So it's hard for me to stay in that. Um, but yeah, when it's something you create yourself, I mean, you're just excited to talk about it. Yeah, and obviously, I want to get, you know, I want to get sales, and I want to do well, you know, financially with the company. You have to, otherwise, I mean, otherwise your company is not going to last. It's just how it is. But that being said, you know, at what cost? You know, you want to be, you want to be honest, and you want people to love your stuff, and and the hardest thing is to get criticism, and you know, but you need to welcome it. So like, if anyone has any advice on my products, how to make them better, I will, you know, hear with open ears, and I'll literally go and fix them like right away. So, but yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. Taking criticism, I think, is so important. And that's not just business, that's life. You need to, now, obviously, again, you can tell if someone's just trying to be mean and degrading and condescending, that's one thing. But if you have a trusted friend who is giving you their honest feedback and you
Right.
appreciate and respect that, you need to be able to kind of put your hands down and take that because it's going to make you better.
Yep. Absolutely.
Sweet. Now, I want you to talk about, just because of my curiosity and just um, excitement around this. You've taken slacklining and you've made like workouts from slacklines, right? Like
Yep.
strength
Yep.
training programs,
Yeah.
mobility, core. So talk about that a little bit because for people who don't know all of the uses of a slackline and they think it's just something you walk on, you've blown that out of the
Sure.
water.
Sure. Yeah. It all really started with our indoor slack stand. I was looking just to increase access to slack lines for, you know, the gyms and for trainers and athletes. So, you know, I was focusing on that indoor stand. For those of you who don't know, it's basically a 12-foot long indoor slack line. It's 18 inches above the ground. It, you know, easily assemble and disassemble it in under a minute. You can store it, in the corner or with other equipment. It's got wheels. You can roll it around the gym. But basically, I took it to Complete Fitness in Menominee Falls, and I was showing the owner, and she's been, in CrossFit competitions. I think she competed at regionals, and she's just outstanding athlete and coach. And I was just picking her brain, and we just started kind of experimenting with it, and found that there's just a lot you can do on it. I mean, that unstable line, it's at a perfect height to do all the things you mentioned, and that unstable line really adds that extra degree of difficulty to traditional body weight and dumbbell exercises. Whether you are putting your back leg up for a split squat, or if you're just doing some plank series. So just kind of playing around on it. I mean, if something's your passion, and it's your product, and you just get to know it intimately, and we kind of just discovered that kind of just through building it. I made the stands before I even expected to be doing that, and then we just started running with it, because it really does add that. And balance is such an important aspect of training, whether you're a world-class athlete looking to gain an extra edge, or even as you get older, your balance starts to deteriorate over time, and it requires daily practice to maintain. And like, falls are the number one reason for hospitalization for older people. And it's not like if I fall, it's when you're gonna fall. And it's maybe you don't catch yourself every time, but if you can have that proprioception and awareness to fall more gracefully and maybe get less hurt, that's all super important, and balance and stability is a part of that. So yeah, it was just through experimentation, basically.
Yeah. So two things I want to unpack with that. The first one, just real quick, because I don't want to forget the second one. I completely agree. So in personal training, I've worked with people who are a little older, and I've had clients who the reason that they came in was they fell, they got injured, and now they're that much more scared. So they come in out of fear of not having that happen again. And that really kind of jolted me up and saying like, okay, I definitely don't want to have that happen. I want to have not only the balance, but the range of motion. I want to have the strength to be able to hold myself up. And like you said, you want to have the coordination, the cognition when you do fall to be able to, minimize whatever the damage may be. So I love that point. So for those of you who plan on growing up and growing old, stay fit, because you'll have that to look forward to. The
Get a
second
swag
thing,
stand
though,
for your house.
yes. But the second thing I want to talk about, and I think this is really important. Again, I'm kind of directing this more at people who are looking to start a project, start a business, start a group or whatever. Be open-minded. So what made me think of that is, if you were very rigid in when you go into this gym, you're strictly thinking, I want to sell them the Slack stand, or I want to, sell them this service of a workshop, you never would have come out with that, again, huge
Right.
explosion of ideas. So be willing to open up the possibilities and, expand or redirect what you're doing, because odds are there is a better way, or there's more options, or just a more effective approach. And so to have that open-mindedness, just tucked in your back pocket as you're going into these situations or conversations, I think is huge. So I'm glad that you brought that up.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
So finally, I want to talk about, because you've put a lot of time and effort into making sure that you have the right friendships, making sure that you have the right habits, making sure that you have the right mindset. Was that always something that you had, or like, when did you develop that hunger for like, I want to make sure that I'm doing the right things with the right people in the right way. Like, when did you start to cultivate such a growth mindset?
I think it's something I've always had, like a internal fire, if you will. And it's something I've built on. And um, in the military, get discipline. I've always had discipline, but that kind of helps. And so as I was growing as a person and finding all these things that were important and vital in my life, I just used, the company as an expression of myself, basically. So, like, our saying, "Stay elevated, stay balanced." I've been using that for 5+ years, just to remind myself, to stay positive, and that life's about balance, and whether it's physically about balance or about balancing, your life in different aspects. So it's the company is just an expression of myself, really, where it's things that I think are the most important, like fitness, like getting outside, like um, using your creativity and having a creative outlet, like whether it's making the design, the logo, or if it's creating a product like the stand, and figuring out different ways to improve upon it. So it's just something that I've always kind of had, and I'm using the company as like an expression of myself, and growing as a person, and also trying to grow my company too.
Oh my gosh, I couldn't agree more. So, and think I think you feel the same way I do, where I don't label my company best self because I believe I'm the perfect human being and have all the knowledge and wisdom in the world. I labeled it best self because I'm in that pursuit and that's what I'm passionate about. So I completely agree with, your business really is just a mirror of you, who you are, what your passions and pursuits are. And that really is mine. Is I believe that it is more now than ever important to figure out what will allow you to live the best life you can live. And I think that's kind of why we got, connected and really stayed friends, was we
Yeah, for
share
sure.
that passion for health, for fitness, for the outdoors. I mean, that Devil's Lake trip, for those of you who want a random, totally useless fact, he was there the first time I ever bailed on a
Oh
rock
yeah,
climbing route.
that
So
was sketchy.
that was fun.
It was
But
fun.
no, I completely agree that I think you should tie a piece of yourself into your business if it's something that you really want to invest a lot in and show people that this is what you want to give to the world.
Yeah, exactly. Just put yourself out there. Try to be the best person you can be, and yeah.
That's powerful, man. I just want people to really soak in that, because I think I think it's important to have something that you really stand for and that you want to teach the world or show the world. But also, I just think it's important for people to see, like, when I talk about best self, when you talk about the Slackline company, our emotion, our facial expressions, they change, they amp up. And that's what I want people to realize, is when you actually find a project or a personal passion project that you really feel tied to, you're going to experience that. And there is nothing I want people to experience more than just that feeling of the pursuit and the enjoyment and the fulfillment and just the growth that comes with finding that personal passion project.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been getting goosebumps just talking about it. It's just something that you can't help it. It's just exciting. And I hope everyone can find something like that.
Absolutely. Well, whoever listens to this, hopefully they'll find something like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So I do kind of final two, so like a finale for the podcast. But before I do that, especially you, because you have like if people are interested in how to learn about business, if they're interested in getting into the military, if they're interested in personal passion projects, if they're interested in slacklining, all of these things, this guy can talk to you, help you, and he's just an amazing person. Where can people connect with you? So whether it's
Yeah,
like social
so
media or
yeah, definitely. Reach out to us. Our Instagram is Train with Slack, TRAIN with Slack. And that's also our website, trainwithslack.com. So you can check out, we have, we have training videos on how we're, applying this, indoor Slack stand to training. We have some, products. If you think our logo is cool and you want a t-shirt like Trevor's, definitely go grab one. Yeah. And then we try to post, we took a little time off because of COVID. I'm starting to post more now, and starting to get the content back and rolling. But yeah, and then if you're doing stuff outside, just tag us and we'll throw you on our page. And yeah, my personal info is on our website. If you want to, email me, I check my email all the time. I'm always open to a convo, even if you want to call me. If I don't answer and you leave a good voicemail, I'll definitely reach back out to you. So,
all right, there you have it. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, definitely reach out to this guy. So the final two, I ask everyone the same two questions at the end. The first question is, what right now in your life is the biggest obstacle between you and your best self?
ooh, you didn't give me this one to prepare, Trevor. The biggest obstacle between me and my best self, um, I would say, is distractions. So probably the biggest obstacle would be distractions. Um, whether that's going out and having some drinks at the bar, instead of staying home and working on my project. Whether it's staying up late, and watching TV or watching a show when I have to get up early. So just keeping disciplined, keeping the distractions out. It's so easy to get distracted by negative stuff in the news or by COVID, and it's really hard to focus on yourself and things you can control. And so that's something I'm working on, and that I think we're all working on, but I think that'd be the biggest thing.
Well, I wish you the best in your pursuit to eliminate distractions. But also, real quick, I want to talk about there's something you brought in there with negativity. One thing I want people to realize, based on the fact that we do have a negative information bias, negativity is contagious in the sense that you are much more likely to relay something negative that you heard, whether it's gossip, whether it's again from the news, than you are positive. Now, I'm not saying that as an attack on anyone individually. I'm not calling you a negative Nelly. I'm saying that's just how we're naturally wired. So, really taking an extra emphasis to reset, set your intention on positivity for whatever conversation, whatever situation you go into next in your day, just really take that extra time to bring positive energy, get yourself in a positive state, and do your best. It's the thing we all heard as kids, like if you don't have something good to say, don't say anything at all. Really kind of implement that. So I love that you brought that up. All right. So for this last one, I like this because throughout our conversation, there's a lot of tips, tricks, tactics, insights that people can pick up on. But now you get to directly challenge the audience. So if you could challenge the audience to do one thing that when done or when implemented will, teach them something or better their lives, what challenge are you going to throw down for the listeners?
I think if you don't have it already, um, dedicate some time to create a personal passion project like we talked about, big or small. um, go for a walk tonight. Clear your head and think about something that you've been wanting to do, and that you've always wanted to do, and you've been putting off, and then make some concrete moves. I love using my phone note section and just creating little goals. Doesn't have to take up too much time, but just something that gets you a little excited. I think especially because New Year's coming, and everyone does a New Year's resolution. I think you should do that year round, but especially now, just dedicate what you're gonna do next year to make yourself get yourself out of bed when you're tired. So
Yeah, I'm glad that you use that because I was hoping you would, but I still got to ask the question. So you heard it here first. If you do not already, you know what? Even if you already have a passion project, do something new that like you're passionate about. So if you're artistic, just take an hour, draw something. I don't know. If you're
yeah,
into animals, take an hour, go to the shelter, play with animals. Take time to do something new. So I'll let you know I do every one of these challenges. So what I'll do is obviously Best Self is my passion project, but as you know, I'm working on an apparel line for Best Self. So my promise to you is that by New Year's that will be out.
right on. I'll
Sweet.
grab a shirt once they're all available.
All right, game on, brother. So for everyone listening, that is about it for this podcast. Now, there were lessons in here about if you're interested in starting a business, if you just, again, feel mundane, dry, automated in your life, in your day, there are so many things in here to talk about how to get out of that rut, how to get back into your passion, back into your purpose. So if this is something that you find useful, again, please comment below. Let us know if you have questions. Let us know if you have comments, things to add, even things you disagree with. Like we said, we got to take that constructive criticism. And if you think there's someone in your life that you know who would really benefit from this conversation, share this with them. Get this information out. That's the point of this podcast, is to get, again, the knowledge, insights, and experience into as many people as we can. So, Alex, I just want to thank you for taking the time and coming on. But more than that, I want to thank you for going through the journey you have and showing people that you can make your dreams happen. Yes, there's going to be real life applications that are involved in that, with finances, with making sure that you're still secure and that you have, again, bills paid, all the logistical aspects taken care of. But don't give up on your dream. I'm so glad that you're teaching people that, as well as how to have fun being healthy, being active, and just getting creative and, staying balanced and staying elevated. So I want to thank you for
Absolutely.
that, man.
Thanks, brother.
Absolutely. So for everybody who is subscribed or is about to subscribe, we will see you next time.